Mesdames, Messieurs, bienvenue à notre point de presse de ce jour du 13 avril 2025 relatif à la présentation de notre déclaration préliminaire au panel du 12 avril 2025 suite aux élections qui s'est déroulées hier en République gabonaise à Libreville. Je suis Marie-Adélaïde Luye-Ndjembo, modératrice et trésorière de OPANEL.
Mesdames et messieurs, bienvenue. Je me présente Galina Moutou, secrétaire et chargée de communication adjointe de l'OPANEL, l'Observatoire panafricain des élections.
Au nom de l'Observatoire panafricain des élections OPANEL, je suis Dr Touri Dagbara Innocent. Je vais être en mesure de pouvoir vous porter tant à l'opinion nationale qu'internationale la déclaration préliminaire de notre suivi de l'élection présidentielle du 12 avril 2025 en République gabonaise.
Pan-African Elections Observatory, OPANEL. The Pan-African and International General Coordination. Gabonese Presidential Election. April 12, 2025. OPANEL Preliminary Statement. The statement by the Pan-African Election Observatory, OPANEL, serving as a preliminary summary report delivered at the press briefing held on April 13, 2025, following the OPANEL monitoring observation and field-verified information gathering related to the presidential election of April 12, 2025, in the Republic of Gabon, underlined the followings: the OPANEL monitoring of the pre-campaign period, the 2 weeks official electoral campaign period in Gabon, and, most importantly, the voting day operations held on Saturday, April 12, 2025, along with subsequent electoral processes at both national level and in Gabonese electoral constituencies abroad. Not to forget our preliminary recommendations and exhortations regarding each of the sequential stages monitored by our Pan-African Electoral Observation and Evaluation Mission in Gabon. To begin, the Gabonese people, including elderly voters, persons with reduced mobility, youth, women, civil society actors, and political stakeholders. All of them participated with commendable Republican enthusiasm, marked by a wave of responsible turnout, cordiality, and, above all, remarkable discipline. This was notably evident through the long queues observed from early morning on voting day, during which polling stations generally opened on time. Gabon's electoral authorities, recognizing the citizens' firm desire to enter a new era of electoral excellence, responded positively and promptly by transparently releasing the results of the votes cast. The process included orderly public ballot counting, accurate tabulation, and aggregation of results. Impressively, provisional results were communicated in less than 24 hours after polls closed, an encouraging signal for building lasting trust in Gabon's future elections. This momentum should be carried forward through the timely organization of upcoming legislative, local, and senatorial elections, under similar satisfactory conditions. Such developments would formally conclude Gabon's political transition, already effectively underway, and OPANEL commends the timely execution of measures aimed at achieving these national objectives through exemplary practices. These are among the key early findings and high-quality indicators for the Republic of Gabon, important not only to acknowledge, but also to adopt as best practices across our African continent. The Pan-African Election Observatory, OPANEL, in synergy with its allied structures and consortium partners, extends its congratulations and encourages all states to take note of these OPANEL evaluation points. These signify a Gabonese electoral renewal and the peace and calm before and after elections that African populations rightfully deserve. Second observation. We commend the Gabonese Republic for its insightful and beneficial initiative prior to the presidential election. A country-to-country exchange with Senegal in November 2024. To draw inspiration from Senegal's successful electoral process. This mutual exchange of African electoral experiences is praiseworthy and should be promoted. It represents a sovereign lever for affirming excellence in electoral organization across Africa, a model of intra-African cooperation that benefits the peace and prosperity of our continent's populations. Third observation. We extend congratulations to Gabon within the Central African region, which, following Chad, successfully implemented its electoral roadmap within the prescribed time frame. Our OPANEL's mission, working in Pan-African observation and evaluation mode, urges all African countries still lagging electorally or emerging from political transitions to follow this winning path through the ballot box. The success of the mentioned countries stands as tangible proof of honoring promises through well-organized elections, which OPANEL acknowledges positively. Fourth observation. It is worth highlighting Gabon's self-financing of this electoral process, including the domestic production of all electoral materials by Multipress, a commendable initiative that should inspire others across the continent. Among other key observations made during both the campaign and voting operations, as well as the public release of results, our mission highlights the following: a civilized electoral campaign during which each of the 8 approved candidates presented their platforms through rallies, door-to-door outreach, public conferences, and various communications, without unnecessary obstruction. A historic milestone with the participation of a female candidate among 7 male contenders, along with a predominance of young candidates. This trend reflects strong youth and gender participation, which should be reinforced with quota measures in future elections. A notable innovation: each candidate was given a daily 90-minute slot on a radio-televised program titled One Candidate, One Project, initiated by the High Authority of Communication. This practice, offering a platform for policy presentation, deserves recognition. However, OPANEL recommends that this be complemented by a final joint debate among all candidates on the eve of the election. This would allow a shared platform for dialogue on key national topics and better inform the electorate. We acknowledge the adoption of a consensual electoral code, a commendable reference framework that all stakeholders must adhere to. Of note is the provision allowing for a 2-round presidential election, an evolution that OPANEL welcomes. Additionally, the provision allowing uncollected voter cards to remain at polling stations on Election Day for voters to retrieve is a forward-thinking measure. This initiative, compliant with Article 70 of the Gabonese Electoral Code, is laudable and should be institutionalized. We observed the timely deployment of electoral materials. We noted the display of computerized voter lists with photos outside polling stations, facilitating voter orientation. We commend the use of candidate-specific ballots and innovative envelopes with a dedicated section for the selected ballot and another for discarded ones. While this system is crucial in preventing vote buying and undue influence, our mission recommends adopting a single serialized ballot to improve vote traceability and reduce printing costs. We highly appreciate the visible field presence of officials from the Authority for the Control of Elections and Referenda, ACER, the Constitutional Court, and national observers from the Citizens Observers Network, ROC, whom we congratulate and encourage. OPANEL urges Gabonese authorities, as we have consistently done, to prioritize national observation over external NGO observers whose electoral expertise is often questionable, a conclusion drawn from the lack of knowledge displayed by a foreign NGO on Gabonese television, despite having bypassed accreditation protocols by claiming to represent an African diaspora. Excellence in electoral processes demands a deep understanding, not superficial praise. We commend the responsiveness of electoral authorities, particularly the National Commission for the Organization and Coordination of Elections and Referenda, (CNOCER), under the Ministry of Interior and Security, in promptly addressing reported issues or malfunctions. Our congratulations go to the ministry and its relevant services. We observed the exemplary training of many Gabonese citizens in electoral observation, notably by the NGO Prisonniers Sans Frontières and ROC. OPANEL encourages them to continue this path of excellence and urges the authorities to support them in future elections. We noted the use of transparent ballot boxes and quality voting booths marked with the seal of the Ministry of the Interior. However, we recommend standardizing the design of voting booths across all polling stations to avoid disparities. The appreciated presence of the Gabonese Red Cross was unprecedented, setting a positive example for other African nations during elections. We noted the proper functionality of the Internet and the unrestricted freedom of movement. We observed secure and non-intrusive electoral security by the Republican security forces. The general courtesy within polling stations was commendable, and we urge all stakeholders to maintain this standard of civility and cordiality during the post-election period. The vote-counting phase was conducted transparently, with public tallying and an aggregation followed by a clear and transparent communication of the polling station results, of which candidate representatives present received a copy of their mandates. Reservations raised by OPANEL. Despite the above commendations, OPANEL notes, with concern, the widespread absence of candidate representatives at many polling stations. This issue deserves national reflection. We suggest considering equitable financial support for all approved candidates to enable them to effectively deploy their agents, especially during a presidential election that sees a candidate facing the people. Candidates should also respect electoral rules concerning the deployment of their agents. This is an ethical imperative that every candidate must internalize. To conclude, OPANEL commends the effective mechanisms outlined above and implemented by the Gabonese electoral authorities. Our mission will remain committed to monitoring all stages before and after the announcement of the results, both provisional and final, by the only competent national Gabonese bodies. This includes, in chronological order of proclamation, the Ministry of the Interior and Security of the Gabonese Republic, as